This beach cruiser e-bike is the Simple Step-Thru 500W from Sixthreezero. The lowest point of its frame is just 10.5 inches above the ground, and that's one of the lowest standover heights we've ever seen. So it definitely has the step-through thing covered. Does it also live up to the simple part? Let's take a ride and find out. Welcome back to Electric Bike Report. My name is John. If you're looking for a comfy and affordable e-bike, the Simple Step-Thru might just fit the bill. But before we dive into all the details, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you have notifications turned on so you can check out all of our other e-bike reviews whenever we release new videos. So what were the first highlights that stood out to us about this bike? First, that super low standover height really jumped out. That made it incredibly easy to get on and off the bike. If you have limited range of motion from age or some sort of disability, we think that feature alone should put this bike on your radar. But another reason you might like this bike is that it has a pretty reserved and controlled level of power. It has a 500-watt rear hub motor, so it has it where it counts if you want or need a lot of help, but most of the time we found that it felt fairly modest and also very easy to keep a handle on. And then if comfort is a priority, you get a lot of the characteristic features that usually come on beach cruisers, like a thick saddle, super wide handlebars with faux leather grips, and an upright riding position. I found this bike to be extremely comfortable to ride because of those things, and also just very relaxing in general. To run through the rest of the specs and components quickly, it comes with a 7-speed Shimano tourney drivetrain that's operated by a RevoShift twist shifter on the right handlebar. There's a chain guard included to help keep your pants from getting greasy. There's a mechanical disc brake system with unbranded brake levers and Tektro M280 calipers with 180mm rotors. The 26-inch wheels have colored rims, 1.95-inch street tires, and full coverage alloy fenders. There's a 48-volt battery mounted beneath the cargo rack that has 500 watt-hours of capacity and is UL certified. And then the rack itself can hold up to 20 pounds. And then to round things out, the bike's black and white display is combined with its control panel, and that's located on the left handlebar right next to the throttle lever. This is a Class 2 e-bike with both throttle and pedal assist up to 20 miles per hour. And then there are 4 color options, 3 of which have a 2-tone paint job, with the frame and the rims being different. So this one is teal, and then there's navy, cream, and then a matte black option if you want something a little edgier. That covers just about everything though, so let's see how this bike did when we put it through its paces in our testing. We tested the Simple Step-Thru's mechanical disc brakes by measuring the distance it took to stop after pedaling up to 20 miles per hour. We performed 3 tests and averaged those results to get a stopping distance of 21 feet 6 inches. Compared to other cruiser-style e-bikes with mechanical brake systems that we've tested, this is an above-average result, and we attribute that to the bike's Tektro brakes and its 180mm rotors. To dive in a little deeper, we tested a very similar model from Sixthreezero called the Every Journey 500W. Both bikes weigh about the same, a little under 60 pounds, but they had different brake systems and rotor sizes. So the Every Journey came with Zoom mechanical disc brakes with 160mm rotors, and its average stopping distance was 26 feet 6 inches. So the Tektro system with 180mm rotors on the Simple Step-Thru made a difference of 5 feet. Most of the time we prefer hydraulic disc brakes, but this bike's mechanical system was definitely effective while also helping to reduce cost, so we consider the bike to be spec'd appropriately. I tested the Simple Step-Thru in each of its 5 pedal assist settings to see what the preset speed limits were in our speed test. Let's take the bike out and see how it did. All right, let's do a speed test here on the Sixthreezero Simple Step-Thru. So starting things off with no pedal assist, going kind of between 8 and 8.5 miles per hour. Looks like actually 8.6 is about the max. I'm gonna read off the numbers since I don't know if you'll be able to see the display here. So yeah, let's go ahead and go up to PAS1. So I'm not really feeling any difference. I hear a very slight whine from the motor, but as far as actual power output, not really feeling any different. Got up to about 8.8 miles per hour there. All right, let's go to 2. And again, same thing, not really feeling anything at all, honestly. Got up to about 9 miles per hour, but I think that's really more the path itself. All right, 9.1. Let's go up to pedal assist 3 then. All right, so I hear a little bit more from the motor in this setting. I'm gonna shift up a couple gears. Yep, feeling a little bit of power there. Still not a whole lot, still feeling very reserved, but also very natural, so I like that. So we're going around 11 miles per hour here. Looks like 11.1. Let's go ahead and go up to pedal assist 4. Ooh, okay, got a little bit of a boost there. I'm gonna shift up a couple gears. Yeah, that made a big difference, honestly. So picking up some speed up to around 15 miles per hour, but still building. So let's see where this goes. All right, looks like we're stopping kind of around 15.5, actually. That's what we're looking at. Let's go up to pedal assist 5. All right, again, another little kick there. That was fun. I'm in the max gear, so I'm just gonna have to start sort of pedaling a little faster to keep up with the pace. All right, and looks like we're topping off right around 19.5 miles per hour. 19.5 was the max. So let's call it there and go see how the throttle does. All right, let's see how quickly the throttle on the Simple Step-Thru can hit 20 miles per hour. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and preface this by saying that I've only seen about 19 point, maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour for a max. So we'll see how long it takes to get up there, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. Nice gradual build in speed there. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like it's gonna take off on me. Building pretty slowly and steadily and still climbing. So we're over 17 miles an hour now. Up toward 18. Yep, hitting 18. 18 and a half. And we are topping out at 19.3. So to recap those maximum speeds, I hit 8.6 miles per hour with no pedal assist, and then I didn't feel much power from the motor in the lowest settings. My max in PAS1 was 8.8 miles per hour and 9.1 miles per hour in PAS2. I did feel more power going up from there though. I measured 11.1 miles per hour in PAS3, 15.5 in PAS4, and then a max of 19.5 miles per hour in PAS5. I was a little confused about what happened in PAS1 and 2, so I did a separate test with almost no effort on the pedals, and I found that the preset speed limits there were around 5.5 miles per hour and 9 miles per hour. Overall, this shows a good distribution of speed and power across the settings, and I think the preset limits make sense for riders who might be new to e-bikes or those who don't want a lot of speed. I also think some riders might be turned off by so little power, so I'd like to see the ability to adjust and customize the speed limits in the future so that the bike might appeal to a wider audience. But I have to say, I really liked how natural the ride felt in the low power settings, and even with more power, the bike never felt out of control. So in general, I think it did a really solid job in this test. In our range test, we rode the Simple Step-Thru in PAS1 and PAS5 until its battery ran out of charge, and then compared our mileage to Sixthreezero's advertised range of 20 to 40 miles. Our results matched almost perfectly. We covered 22 miles in the high power test and 40.5 miles in the low power test. We were happy to see that the advertisements were accurate, even if the bike's results were on the low side of average when compared to other cruisers we've tested. The Simple Step-Thru's battery capacity was on the lower side as well, so I think these results make sense, and ultimately the bike was pretty efficient. We figured we'd get about an hour on the bike in PAS 5 with only about 16 miles under our belt, but we ended up with about 38% more time and distance than we expected. So ultimately the bike did well, and its range is practical for both commuting and casual rides to the beach and back. Longtime viewers know our infamous test hill, which is called Hellhole Trail. If you're new to the channel, it's a super steep hill with an average grade of 12% over a third of a mile, and we tested the Simple Step-Thru's throttle and pedal assist system there with maximum power. I'll pass you over to our test rider Justin to see how the bike performed.
Okay, we're here on Hellhole with the 630, and we're gonna do the throttle test. We're gonna see if it makes it up. Sometimes these lighter weight, kind of less powerful beach cruisers don't make it up here. Down to about 9 miles an hour so far, so not doing too bad. It's if we get down below 3 that we start to potentially have issues. So we're gonna see where it goes. So 6.9, dropping kind of quick here. 6.1, holding the 6.2, so not bad. Up 6.0. Now down to 5.5. I think it's gonna make it though. You know, it's gonna kind of bottom out that first section right about 5.4 miles per hour. We'll see what it gets up to. Up here, I'll let you listen to the motor as we gain a little bit more speed. It's pretty quiet. It'd be a little louder if we were up to speed here. So it's just kind of like a low rumble. And now we got the last punchy section. Let's see what it's got. But if it makes it up here, barring something crazy, it's gonna make it up. So down to 5.4, 5.2. Kind of held right at that 5.2, 5.4 range on both hills. So yeah, we'll make it up. Pass the dog here. And kind of like some of the other beach cruisers that do make it up on throttle, not, you know, it's not cruising like up the hill 20 miles per hour. That's not really what most people are going for if they buy a more relaxed beach cruiser. So I'd say performance right here is right about average, and what you'd kind of hope for on the throttle test up Hellhole. We'll go to the tape, see how it does, then get back on and do the pedal test. Okay, we're back up on the 630 doing the pedal test now. And as I do with all these rear hubs, but especially the beach cruisers, I'm just gonna kind of lightly cruise up. And I'll put a ton in my own watts, and it's doing pretty decent so far, right around 9 miles an hour, or 9.6, making this turn down to about 7.7. I am shifting down, shifting fairly well, even though I'm going up this hill. Got down to 6.2, 6.1. So 5.8, so a little faster than throttle only. Again, I'm not pedaling too hard. I'll let you listen to the motor here so you can kind of get a sense for how it's different than if I'm just throttling. So we passed John. So yeah, motor's really quiet. I'd say quieter than average. And so it's nice. Through that last steep punchy section, carried right through, got down to about 8.3 miles per hour is all. So not gonna be the fastest time ever on Hellhole, but climbs nicely. Definitely don't have to put too much power into those pedals to get to climb up these hills. And I also didn't even have to shift down into first gear. Did have to shift, several times, but that's to be expected. And we'll go to the tape and see how it does, but overall, did pretty well.
So on throttle, Justin recorded a time of 1 minute and 58 seconds and an average speed of 9.2 miles per hour. In PAS 5, that time went down to 1 minute and 43 seconds, and his speed went up to 10.5 miles per hour. Compared to other beach cruisers we've tested, these results were pretty average and about what we expected based on the motor specs. The 500-watt motor peaks at 960 watts, and it kicks out 50 newton meters of torque, which is fairly middle of the road and also clearly effective. In my testing, that reserved and controlled feel that I mentioned earlier still applied. The throttle wasn't the fastest, but it felt steady regardless. And even if I chose to pedal, I really didn't have to put in any real effort to pedal up some really steep hills. So bottom line, even if the results were average, average is good. Ride quality differs a lot from bike to bike based on style, features, and personal preference, but let's take the Simple Step-Thru out one last time and talk about some of the big contributing factors. All right, we are back on the Simple Step-Thru to talk about ride quality. This is a beach cruiser through and through, so you have a big comfy saddle, you have wide handlebars, you have a nice upright riding position with good visibility. There's a single frame size here, and it's made for riders from 5 foot up to 6'4". And you get quite a few points of adjustment. You get about 5.5 inches in your saddle height with the seat post. And then there's a threaded stem, so you have a few inches of handlebar height adjustment there. And then you can also loosen up at the front and kind of rotate the handlebar angle for comfort as well. There is no suspension on the bike, but honestly, I don't really notice it. This is very comfortable to ride. I think the saddle is doing a lot of work in kind of absorbing those bumps and vibrations, and the tires are probably helping out a bit as well. The tires themselves are 26-inch by 1.95. They are from a brand called Ponelli, I think is how you pronounce it. But street tread pattern, and in terms of size and width, kind of just a nice middle ground between stability and maneuverability. And then the motor on this bike is a 500-watt rear hub with a cadence sensor. So I'll kind of show that off. We'll go up to pedal assist 5. I'm just going to kind of coast and slow down a little bit, and then I'll turn the cranks to show you how quickly that engages. So we'll do that now. All right, so kind of a slowly building power, which I like. The engagement itself took about a half turn of the cranks, and I've noticed that kind of varies a little bit. But then of course you have 5 pedal assist settings to select from with different power levels. So let's go back to the studio and wrap up our discussion. So overall, I thought this bike did a good job. It was super comfortable and easy to use. To go back to my opening question, I think the simple part of the bike's name really does apply. There aren't a lot of bells and whistles here, and that's totally okay. First, because it keeps the price down, but also because the bike doesn't really need anything extra. I noticed that the motor's engagement wasn't always the fastest. It varied between about 1/8 of a turn of the cranks some of the time to more than half a turn at others, and I'd like to see that made a bit more consistent with a more responsive cadence sensor. The throttle can help get you up to speed, but if you prefer pedaling, it would be nice for the motor to kick in a bit faster. Otherwise, I think this bike's feel really matched its looks, and it actually had a more nimble feel than I anticipated. If you like cruiser style bikes, I think you'll be very happy with what this one offers. I think it's easy to overcomplicate things when you're shopping. If you're anything like me, you can get sucked into feeling like you've got to have the fanciest thing with all of the gadgets and features. But more often than not, something that's fairly basic usually gets the job done, and I think that's what Sixthreezero was trying to do with the Simple Step-Thru. This bike definitely does not try to overcomplicate things, and in my eyes, that is a strength. It sticks to the things it's good at, like being accessible and comfortable and practical. It kept things pretty relaxed, both in how it felt to ride and how much power it had, and it did a really solid job in all of our tests. I'd like to see a more responsive cadence sensor for better motor engagement, and I think the bike would appeal to a wider range of riders with the ability to adjust its speeds, but otherwise I think Sixthreezero delivered on a bike that fits its target audience. If you're getting up there in years, or you're new to e-bikes, or you just want something simple and straightforward, I think this bike might just fit the bill. We'll leave a link to the Sixthreezero website so you can take a closer look at the bike, and that's down in the video description. Please make sure to use that affiliate link if you decide to make a purchase. It'll let us know you found this review helpful. And if you're still shopping, you can check out the link to our written review for this bike and tons of others at electricbikereport.com. Thanks for hitting that like button and for subscribing. We really appreciate it. And please let us know what you think about this bike down in the comments section. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me today. Again, I'm John with Electric Bike Report, and this is the Simple Step-Thru 500 watt from Sixthreezero.